Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Echoes of Experience. Today we're going to be talking about boundaries. I have some notes, so if you see me looking down, um, that's what I'm looking at. Um, so let me ask you a question. I just want a blanket statement, general question for everybody. Who is someone that you cannot, for whatever reason, set firm boundaries with and maintain them? Who's that person? For me, for a long time, it was my mom, right? Um, my mom and I didn't really get along, and at least not in my adult life. And for a long time, she only ever called me whenever she needed me to come and do something for her, right? So it was never a hey, how you doing? Just wanted to check on you. None of that shit. And even on the rare occasions where it was just want to see how you're doing, it didn't feel genuine. So I had to set a boundary, and I haven't I haven't spoken to her since I set that boundary, and so that's just an example, right? Are you someone who can set firm boundaries and keep them? That's the biggest part, right? Being able to stand by that boundary that you set for someone else, like a guideline, right? Because guidelines, they're meant to be followed, right? It's like a so that to me is a boundary. Um, I'm not personally willing to be a doormat for someone else to walk all over, right? I'm not that person. Maybe 5, 6 years ago, sure, I could have been that person. None of you who know me ever saw that, but for certain people, I was that person, and I refuse to ever be that person ever again because it leads down a road of misery, for lack of a better word. It's just fucking miserable, right? Um, so now I'm 25 and I set boundaries for people, certain people. If a boundary needs to be set, most people that I come into contact with, I don't normally have to set a boundary. I don't know if it's the way that I talk to people because I'm always real nice, but I talk to everybody the same way. Um, but generally I don't have to set that boundary, and when I do, I'm very firm about my boundaries, and I'm not afraid of the block button. I'm not afraid to tell you to your face, even, you're fucking me up right now. You're crossing boundaries that I already set for you. We've had this conversation. Don't fucking do it again. It's not hard. It used to be, but it's not hard. You have to be willing to kind of be an asshole sometimes for your own peace, right? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with being an asshole for a good cause. I feel like. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, so yeah, boundaries are set for a reason, and whatever fucking case there is, if you set a boundary, you are to be the person to make sure that that boundary is respected, right? Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear for everybody, because out here, no one's going to do it for you. I mean, unless you have a white knight next to you, or whatever. But how often are you going to be able to lean on someone else to maintain a boundary for you? You know what I mean? So on the inverse, I would like to ask the question as well. How do you react whenever a boundary is set for you? Say Just a common example. Okay. Super common. I hate that it's common, but I'm going to use this as an example. You're a man, you flirt with somebody, that woman, assumably, um, tells you no. They don't want, they set a boundary for you and they don't want any kind of flirtation ever from you, right? How do you react to that? Are you the kind of person who blows the fuck up and now you're pissed off because someone told you no and you have to face the rejection? Because if you're that kind of person, you have some growing to do. There is absolutely no point in being that kind of person. And I'm only using that as an example because it's the only one coming to my head right now. But it's a general thing, right? If you react poorly to a boundary set for you, how do you expect any productivity to come out of that relationship, right? Friendship, relationship, whatever. You know what I mean? Because if you get aggressive with someone because they set a boundary for you, what do you think that person's going to do? Do you think they're going to just bend to your will? 99% of the people that you talk to won't. They're going to either avoid you completely or they're going to let you fucking have it. And if you're that kind of person, I honestly hope they let you fucking have it. Um, but that's neither here nor there. That's my own bias because there's no fucking point in acting that way about a boundary being set for you, right? We can agree, correct? Um, you have to give someone the same respect you would expect them to give you. Let me repeat that. You have to give them, the person who set a boundary for you, the same respect that you would expect from them if you set a boundary for that person. Okay? It's a two-way street in every relationship. If you are friends with someone, that's a two-way street. If you are dating someone, that is a two-way street across the board. You can't have a relationship, regardless of platonic or not, if boundaries aren't respected, that person's not respected, and you're just a dickhead. Okay? Um, boundaries can make or break a relationship. Let me be clear about that. Um, it is not the boundaries themselves that can make or break a relationship. It is literally whether or not you choose to follow those boundaries. If you abide by those boundaries, you should be fine in that relationship. Oh, okay, I get it. That's not hard. It's not hard at all. If you take a boundary personally, I feel like you have some growing to do. You know what I mean? Because boundaries aren't meant to be personal. Boundaries are set for a specific person in order to protect their own peace, right? That's all a boundary is. It's not anything against you unless they just really don't fucking like you. Um, it's literally something that they can't deal with from you, and probably not from anybody else, so that they can effectively protect their own peace. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, right? Are we in agreement there? We should be in agreement there. Um, so, first of all, don't let anybody ever treat you as a doormat. If you set a boundary, you have to be that person to enforce that boundary if said boundary is crossed, or if said person gets aggressive with you for setting a boundary, right? Because, like I said, no one is going to do it for you. That's unfortunately not how it works. You can't avoid confrontation 100% of your life. You can try, you won't, I promise. Um, and not that that necessarily means you're going to get in a fist fight with this person because you set a boundary. That's not how that works either. But if that person gets aggressive with you and starts calling you names and they're taking your boundary as an attack on them, don't just, okay, you don't have to do that. Don't let them cross that boundary. Protect your peace. Your peace is what matters. If you are not doing okay yourself, right? If you are not protecting your own peace, that kind of turns into a snowball, right? Imagine a snowball rolling down a hill that just keeps getting bigger as you let people cross these boundaries that you set for them. What happens whenever that snowball reaches the bottom of the hill and hits something? It's fucking massive at this point, right? Let's be exaggerative and say it's a 20-foot tall snowball. That's going to break something. That's going to destroy some shit, right? That's going to be you if you decide to let people walk all over your boundaries. Okay? I'll make it a little simpler. You get a bottle of soda. You shake that motherfucker up real good, right? What happens when you open the cap? It explodes. Let's say all of the liquid in the bottle is all the shit you've been taking from not enforcing your boundaries, right? Someone just so happens to knock you over one good time, all that shit starts fizzling and building up a whole lot of pressure right up to the neck of the bottle. Just takes a little bit to crack that motherfucker open, and then you explode all over everything around you. That's what that's going to lead to. And if you don't want to be that person, you have the option to enforce your boundaries and protect your own peace. Even if that means cutting someone off and burning a bridge completely to protect yourself, right? That's okay. You know how many times I've had to do that in my life? It's okay to do it. I promise. I can't even count how many times I've had to do that in my life. Just for my own betterment, I guess, for lack of a better word. Sanity. I don't know. For myself. So remember that. If you have to cut someone out of your life in order to enforce a boundary, be okay with being an asshole and doing that. Sometimes being an asshole is what it takes in order to protect your own peace. I understand wanting to be nice. I understand wanting to be a kind person. And I understand wanting to avoid conflict. Sometimes it is necessary to be an asshole. And just to reiterate, on the flip side, don't take it fucking personally if someone sets a boundary with you. Right? Hey, I really like you as a person, but I don't want anything romantic with you. That's a boundary. That's fine. They don't think of you in that way. That's not to say that that'll never change. Because who knows? Shit changes all the time. But regardless, you ruin a good friendship by taking things personally and blowing up on that person for absolutely no fucking reason other than they set a boundary for you to follow. Are we all in agreement? Okay, great. I apologize for the delay in putting something out. I've been beat the fuck up this week. So, we're getting back to it. And I'm not going to allow myself to slack. I said I would do at least once a week. If I can make it happen 2 or 3 times a week, great. But I said I would do at least once a week. And that's what the fuck I'm going to do. Okay? So Accountability. That might be my next one. We'll see. I don't know. But that's all I have to say about that. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, morning, evening, whenever the fuck you watch this. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.